There we are. We should be back now live. And this is, you join us in for the race. And unfortunately, there was an issue where Suku had to leave the session out on track. We don't know what's happened in terms of the first lap, but we are on the second lap, and Alphatrix is now out in front for Montana in second, Connor in third, Rocco fourth, Bolin in fifth. Looking at the position gains early on, there's the position gains early on. 7 positions dropped for M Short, and D Daniel, I think, has already been into the pit lane, possibly with damage earlier on in the race, possibly with a contact with somebody out on track. But at the start of lap 3, Alphatrix does lead Montana second, Connor in third. We welcome you back here to Division 1. Personally, I think this race should be restarted for the fairness of the lobby, and so there's no glitches, but we're continuing as we are. I'm Short right on the back of Kazizil, down the inside and towards turn 1. Can he get the move done? Oh, a little bit tight there. But I'm Short on the outside line. Kazizil on the inside line. Oh, and he spins into him. There's contact between them both. Kazizil just had a bit of a half spin. Lets Suku through. Suku has luckily rejoined back in, and he's taken control of his own car. And M Short now 15th position, but he got a time penalty because of that. 3 seconds as a result of that contact. I think that'll get removed.
Yeah, that's... I wouldn't be too happy of that if I was a pair of them, really. Rubbing is racing, but of course you don't really want to make too much contact. Of course, no wing damage to either of them, so it's good to see it at the very least. But at this moment in time, Alphatrix will be happy that he is in front of Montana. Granted, it's only 4 tenths, and DRS has been enabled this lap, so it's going to be a big help to Montana on the run up towards turn number 1, and I believe turn number 11 once he gets into that range.
Cohen was right on the back there because this will try to go around the outside line, but Cohen's still in 17th position. He's on that set of medium compound of tyres. Toxic, by the way, he's already up into 8th position from his starting grid position. Fantastic start from the AlphaTauri, and he's got Larkin right on the back of him and behind. Killer Blue in 10th has also picked up a 3-second time penalty. On to lap 4 we go. Alphatrix leads, Montana second, Connor in third. If anybody can inform me what happened on lap 1, then you're as good as guess as me, to be honest, because I do not have a clue what's happened on lap 1. We got kicked, which is unfortunate. Jasasas is right on the back of Killer Blue, down in towards turn 1, but again, not close enough. Suku close enough just in the background there on Kuka Games, but again, not close enough. Montana just seems to be hassling Alphatrix at this stage, and Connor's dropping off. If I've got to be honest, Connor's just dropping off. Maybe he's saving up the ERS. He's got the same amount of ERS as Montana ahead of him. I think, honestly, Montana's going to have a go at Alphatrix down in towards turn 12, surely.
Yeah, at this moment in time, though, Alphatrix has got 95%. He's going to use a little bit of that up just to steam away from Montana on the exit. I don't think coming into this corner here, Montana will be close enough to even mount a challenge on the Brit, but definitely can reel him in using that DRS, getting about 2 tenths on that straight from what he lost on the exit. So if Alphatrix could just manage that throughout the entire Grand Prix for as long as he can, he'll be in a really great position come pit stops.
Yeah, just having to flick through the field there, nobody really close enough to get any sort of moves done out on track, but we are already flying through this race. Suku's right on the back of Kuki Games, 13th and 14th. Suku, of course, having to be forced onto a set of soft compound tires. I can still see a little bit of lag, actually, coming from his end. You can just see a little bit of a jump coming through the corners as he runs wide, coming through 16, 17 and 18 out on track, but Suku will be hoping for a much better result, and hopefully he might even get a safety car or 2 in the process. M Short has just picked up another 3-second time penalty. There is the new feature, by the way, that the F1 patch has brought. There is the penalties for you guys. No flicking through the race director, no getting my co-commentator to do the hard work for me. We've now got it at the touch of a button, which is absolutely fantastic, and M Short, the most recent driver to pick up a 3-second time penalty. Rocco just dropping off on the back of Connor has now brought Bolin and Neo into play for 4th.
Yeah, Rocco really in a place of uncharted territory for him. He's not been at the front for quite a while, so if he can convert this 4th position at the moment into a good result, that'll be great confidence coming into the end of the season. But he has got Bolin hassling him, who's been really consistent in the last couple of races that he's taken part in. He's been really quick in all of them, and definitely could be one to amount a challenge for a podium on Connor later on in the Grand Prix. But yeah, Rocco and Neo, Bolin and Neo, going to be pressurising Rocco throughout this Grand Prix, but someone who's probably in a really, really good position at this moment in time is Toxic, the leading medium runner. He's had an absolutely blistering start I definitely think later on in the Grand Prix, when he's on those soft compound tyres right to the end, he will be a threat to be reckoned.
Just got to watch, actually. Suku's gone through on Kuka Games, diving it down the inside through turn 15, but Kuka Games gets back alongside and is back through. And he's up into 13. A little bit of a dive bomb, I think that was from Suku, who's been joined on. As now the Ferrari is right on the back of the Red Bull, out on track. Yeah, Toxic doing a good job out on track, but I just have a feeling that he might be just overheating the tyres slightly. You see the excessive lockups coming towards turn 1. We'll ride on board with him now, see if he does it here. And then typically the time that I ride on board with him, he doesn't. Suku now is coming from an absolute mile back on Kuka Games once again, and hangs him out to dry this time, and Suku is through. The Ferrari man is through. The pole is through, and he's up into 13th position out on track. Just how important is that move for him? Because he's now got clear air in front of him.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit of time up to Campbell ahead, but especially through this SS section, he's going to be keeping the temperatures down on the engine. Of course, this will help him come trying to make a move once he catches up to Campbell. Of course, 5 laps on a fresh set of softs will help him at this moment in time. Probably will be a couple of laps before he actually loses any temps at all. Here's Montana just flicking at the front. Oh, he's right onto the back of Alphatrix here, but he just can't get that gap down enough to actually mount a challenge.
Yeah, he didn't use up any overtake mode. Apart from on the exit of the corner, he responded to Alphatrix using that as well. Kazizel, in the meantime, is diving down the inside of M Short, gets the move done. So Kazizel, clean move down the inside and towards turn 12. And he's through and he's up into 15th position now out on track. M Short's going to try and come back at him through this tight and technical section of turns 13, 14 and 15 out on track. Herman Tilke designed track, of course, 2012. The inaugural running of the United States Grand Prix in its current form was first run. But look at Connor. Connor's now beginning to latch onto the back of the front two once again, and 0.5 of a second separate the two championship leaders out on track as we are now a quarter distance. Alphatrix leads, Montana second, Connor in third. Top 3 controlling the race. Rocco, I think, in 4th is trying to get a little bit closer. Bolin as well in 5th, with Neo in 6th. Toxic just appears to me as if he might be holding up Larkin slightly, because at some points of the track Larkin looks quicker than Toxic, if I've got to be honest, and I think there'll be a time and a place where Larkin can be so close he can get the move done.
Yeah, the gap between Toxic and Schiaparelli really has seemed a bit stagnant for the last couple of laps, but Larkin every so often just reels in the British man, the Brit ahead of him, just a little bit. You can see 4/10 through the apex. He's actually got a pretty bad exit because he went so deep into the corner. Probably won't help him in his fight with Killer Blue as well, who's also right behind him. Already got a 3-second time penalty. He was one of the first to actually rack up that penalty for multiple warnings, but he can definitely challenge them once his soft tyres are still within working condition. Won't last too much longer on that Williams car, but he still could be within a shout of overtaking these guys at pit stop pace.
See, Daniel's beginning to catch as well. The last time I looked at that gap, 17 seconds it was. It's now 15. The Daniel obviously will have to pit again. He will be on a 2-stop strategy, probably onto a set of hards, I would imagine, towards the end of the race. But Alphatrix and the rest are now going on to lap 8 out on track, and we've got a little bit of a glitch just developed. Connor now apparently shows as being 1 lap down, and this is why the race should have really restarted, because we had a problem like this last night in TTML Division 5. It was myself and Daniel Hoggard, Dakar of course taking you through that one, and we had a glitch where Connor would literally glitch the standings for a lap or two and then it would come back, and that's what we're seeing once again here, and that's exactly what's just happened. As soon as I've said that, he's now glitched down to the back of the field. I will tell you now though, he's third and he's still in contention on the front two.
This game has been nominated for Best Racing Game of the Year, and I just can't see why. It's absolutely ridiculous. You can see now he's back up into third. Somehow it's just clicked randomly, but it still says he lapped down, so it's going to be really difficult for us to actually find out where he is most of the time.
I believe Kuka Games has picked up a 3-second time penalty now as well. No, sorry, Schiaparelli, I should say, has picked up a 3-second time penalty, I believe. Kuka Games in the meantime. Suku really nearly lagged into the back of him there. And Suku right on the back of Kuka Games, and Suku not looking great in terms of connection. Kuka Games is there. Suku has a bit of a half slide coming out. So I'm trying to ride on board with the Red Bull if we can. There he is. There's Suku just in behind out on track there. He's not showing as a red bar, but he is lacking out as Alphatrix is into the pitch from the lead of the race.
Yeah, this is around about the time that you would see some of the soft runners come in, but all things considered, only a couple actually driving it in. Killer, this might not be the best option for him. Could be trying some sort of double stack. Alphatrix lead. There's a Neo just coming out ahead of him, and he's actually lagged back a little bit there, and no issues for Killer Blue in that pit stop, luckily.
He was actually held up slightly, I think. He was held up slightly because the mechanics essentially weren't ready for him out on track, and that's what we've just seen happen there. And Killer Blue is going to be side by side, I think, with D Daniel coming out the pit lane. This is currently for 15th and 16th position, not 14th and 15th that you see on your screen. Connor, once again, the graphics are completely glitched, but Killer Blue is trying to now fight with D Daniel, and Killer Blue also, I think, has picked up a 3-second time penalty. Koki Games has got 6, and Toxic now has just picked up a time penalty there for 3 seconds as well out on track. Just right on board with what's happening in Division 3 as well. Doing very good stuff, doing very good I should say out on track in terms of the action. Division 4 as well. I think that's a wet race if I'm not mistaken. Oh, as Killer Blue right onto the back of Suku, nearly locks up. Goodness me, so close to the guys out on track. You see that on the replay cams just there. So the lobby, I should say the stream is a little bit slow on my end. Killer Blue right on the back of D Daniel. Is he going to try and get the move done down in the inside and towards turn 12? I think D Daniel's given him the room and literally invites him through. Killer Blue is through and he's up into 14th. The leaders are in.
Yeah, that was an easy enough move for Killer Blue. He was actually held by about 1.5 seconds in the pit lane, so yeah, not what he would have wanted. But Montana and Rocco coming into the pit lane. I believe Connor has stayed out, takes the lead of the Grand Prix. It's still showing him up as 18th position, which is not really what you'd like to see. But Montana, where's he going to come out in relation to Alphatrix? He'll come out behind him. Behind him, and he's on a set of medium compound of tyres. Now 18 laps I should say, on this set of tyres is going to be quite a push, I think, for Montana to try and make it towards the end of the race. He'd be hoping to try and make Alphatrix look now as if he's going to come back towards him at the end of the race. But we have got Connor, he's in the lead of the race. Bolin is in second, Schiaparelli in third, but Schiaparelli's getting closed down now by the medium runners of Toxic and Larkin. I think Toxic is now within the slipstream to try and have a go, but he's not using anything up. And Toxic is now down into, or still in third position as he comes down in towards turn 12. Somebody that is close enough though is Montana as we ride back on board. Here comes the Alfa Romeo. This is important as well for the constructors, remember. And Montana is through. Gets the move done as soon as Kuka Games joins the session. He's through. And Montana is through and he's up into 10th. But more importantly, that's now the net lead of the race. Yeah, Alphatrix probably could have extended his tyres just one more lap and then went onto the mediums like Montana. Probably could have given him a bit more of a fighting chance, but now it's all up to these guys to actually navigate through the traffic as Connor and Bolin pull into the pit lane. I believe Schiaparelli has opted to stay out another lap, which is going to be risky on his tyres. Toxic is now down on the inside line. Connor has desynced on the start finish straight there. You saw the car, but Toxic now on the inside line gets the move done for the lead of the race. Schiaparelli now into second. I thought there was a little bit of damage actually on that Mercedes, possibly from that early contact, but there's not. Toxic now leads. Schiaparelli second, Larkin in third out on track. Montana has just disposed of Cohen down in towards turn 1, and Rocco is now ahead of Kuka Games as he rejoins into the session, or hopefully will rejoin in the session very shortly indeed. Just 8 is out of the pit lane, just in front of Suku by about 2 seconds out on track. There is Connor. Connor is still going round out on track. He's just been into the pit lane and he's still looking like he's on a sort of soft compound of tyres to me, which is a bit strange considering he has been on those tyres throughout this so far. So that's clearly a glitch. Larkin on the back of Schiaparelli. This is for second and the Racing Point trying to drag out the Mercedes, and he does. Larkin is through and he's up into second position. Good move that by Larkin, as now Alphatrix pulls out the slipstream on Cohen, and Alphatrix down the inside line gets the move done on Cohen. We're seeing an absolute overtaking fest all of a sudden, and Connor apparently is showing his he's in the pit lane. He's not. Now it's put him onto a set of medium compound of tyres, and this game honestly is absolutely ridiculous in terms of the amount of bugs. Bolin has just gone through on Kuka Games' AI car as well, but Connor now is
in P10, and he's now on a set of medium compounder tyres. It only came half a lap later.
I'm hoping finally now it has fixed itself and we could just have some nice and normal racing. But normally, when it comes to F1 2020, that is not the case. Chapelletti does pull into pit low, and here is actually Montana just going up the inside of there. Easy enough overtake there, and quickly gains retiring in the pit lane. So that is the first DNF of the race, and it goes the way of the Red Bull team. Unfortunately, they are not doing too hot in the constructors, and that is not going to help them one bit.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think for Red Bull obviously being right down at the bottom of the field in terms of the constructors' battle. And again, it's glitched once again. So honestly, this is why we should eliminate any sort of bugs within any sort of lobby. Chapelletti, though, in the meantime, this is for 12th and 13th now, I think, out on track as the Ferraris of D. Daniel Suku is in behind. As soon as I say that, Connor's now been fixed again. He's back into P8 now, out on track. I don't know where to turn in terms of the action. There's so much going on. Chapelletti on the back of Killer Blue, not close enough. And Connor is through on Cohen. And that is a move done. It might be showing as not moving on your screen to the left-hand side, but Connor is through and he's up into 8th position to support off Cohen quite easily there.
And just looking a little bit up ahead on the circuit, AlphaTruck's really struggling at this moment in time. Rocco is actually reeling him in at this moment in time. Of course, AlphaTruck really struggling to find an avenue past Cazillo, who just caught him in the wrong part of the circuit, and those hard tyres not going to be up to temperature. They won't be in working condition at this moment in time, so Rocco could be within a really good opportunity to actually try and make a move very soon on AlphaTruck. And Connor says it's a lap down again, so I've just had no clue. There's AlphaTruck up the inside of Cazillo. Easy enough move. Cazillo going to be able to sink like a high density rock in water.
Yeah, he is dropping down the field, but I've got to be honest, yeah, Rocco, he's still keeping on the terms of AlphaTruck actually, and he's quicker through the S section there than AlphaTruck out on track. Yellow flags in Sector 1, by the way, just ignore them because they're now, that's another glitch that happened as well in Division 5 last night of TTML. And that's why we're seeing so many glitches in this session. Softs to mediums, by the way, I think could be the way to go. Could be one sub strategy in terms of the strategy. I saw quite a few comments there as well. But Rocco now on the back of Kazizel, and this is possibly now for P6 out on track. He could even have a run at AlphaTruck if he so wishes. But Rocco, anyways, is through, and Neo is looking like he's going to get through on Cohen as well. Running down the straight, Neo is through. He's up into P9 out on track. Jasesas closing up quite quickly to D. Daniel, and that's honestly the easiest overtake you might see all night. Jasesas through, and he's up into 14th position out on track. Now, it's saying Neo is 1700ths off, but it's actually Connor that's now beginning to put Kazizel under pressure.
Yeah, and just coming through this long-winded right-hander, you can't really make an overtake unless you're right up to the back of them, which Connor just isn't at this point. So going to have DRS on the Renault car in front, and it's been 3 consecutive laps that Kazizel has been overtaken into turn number 1. I think history is going to repeat itself, and yeah, Connor just going to go up the inside, and he begins to mount his challenge on Rocco up ahead. It actually says on my screen at the very least that there's an interval between Connor and Rocco now. So is it fixed, or is it gonna just do what it does always? Glitch out?
I honestly couldn't comment on that. You know what we've seen so far this race in terms of the glitches. I wouldn't like to predict the future. But for now, it seems like it's fixed itself. Rocco, though, is on the back of AlphaTruck, and this is more important, I think, in terms of the battle, because this is now a net battle for second. Montana has shot up the road. He's 5.5 tenths off the back of Campbell, and is actually looking to try and get the move done here on the Scotsman. Scotsman, of course, won in Singapore, and Montana to the inside line absolutely sailed on by. Down the inside, he's got the job done, and he's through and he's up into 3rd. Rocco was through and he's up into 5th, and Neo is through and he's up into 8th, and Bolin is down the inside of Cohen, and he's through and he's up into 10th. 4 overtakes in the space of literally 10 seconds.
Oh, that's what we were saying before the stream started. This is going to be an absolute overtake fest, and well, that really has proved it. That corner there, I believe turn number 11 or 12, is an absolute hotspot for moves up the inside. We saw that displayed by pretty much all of the drivers, but now Rocco could try to reel in Montana it'll definitely be very, very difficult. But as long as Alphatrix is on those hards, he can try and pull away from him. At this point of the Grand Prix, we're over the halfway point. Those mediums will still be absolutely rapid in comparison to the hards, but Alphatrix not going to stop him from trying to make a move, but he's just not got that grip, and Connor's going to be right up his rear for the next couple of corners.
He's down into the pit lane. Obviously with that lap 1 instant, he had to come in to the pit lane on lap 3, I think he pitted, and he goes on to a new fresh set of mediums. But look, speaking of fresh mediums, Connor is right on the back now of Alphatrix. He is absolutely toying with this Williams in front. It's not often you see Alphatrix now begin to struggle in Division 1. It's just the case that Montana has been so consistent so far this race. Rocco looks like he's on for a good result, but now Connor is going to utilise that speed advantage in that Alfa Romeo. Is he going to be close enough? I don't think so. Alphatrix is closing in on Rocco. However, I don't think he's going to be close enough in towards turn 12. Connor closes right up to the back. And Schiaparelli is also through on Cohen, and he's through, and he's up into 11. That was halfway down the straight. He completed that, and Schiaparelli now through, and he's up into 11. Schiaparelli actually is on the fresher tyres, I think, of everyone that has pitted in so far. So surely he's going to be making more ground through the field as more guys pit. He could be on for top 5, I think.
Yeah, he was in about 8th position before all the pit stops even happened. So to be right up to the back of Bolin, who was in 5th position coming into the pits before, of course, everyone decided to take off those soft tyres. So he's really consistent in this race, and he'll probably be miles ahead of Larkin and Toxic once they come to the pits. Campbell as well. The last of the medium runners really who are at the front challenging. So yeah, they will be in a good position, it will Schiaparelli, to score a decent amount of points, and that he could be a really big threat come lap 26, 27.
Montana has taken, by the way, about 2 seconds off the back of Larkin and Toxic over the last 3 laps or so. So Montana hasn't caught as quick as what I would have imagined, to be honest, in terms of the tyre life. Here comes Connor, though, possibly looking for a move down the inside and towards turn 11. Gets the move done. That is a dive bomb and a half from Connor. Gets the move done, gets the car stopped. But Alphatrix now, both of them have got DRS on the DRS detection point. And that is why Connor lunged for the move. Who's going to be quickest down the straight? And I think it's going to be Connor. Rocco, however, is down on the inside line of Campbell. And this is for P4 now out on track. And Rocco is through on the Scotsman, I think. Yes, the Haas. Just about getting in front. Yes, now he's through. Rocco is through, and he's up into 4th position out on track. Campbell now down to 5th. Connor has overtaken Alphatrix, which is crucial. And also, Schiaparelli is just overtaken Cazzizzle for 10th.
Yeah, once again, this race proving to be an overtake fest, but I've got to say, Rocco's been really impressing me so far in this Grand Prix. Oh, sorry?
Toxic into the pits from the lead of the race, and going to be interesting to see what compound of tyre he actually goes on out on track, as we're going to see a change for the race leaders. Montana now comes up the hill in towards turn 1, and he's through. Montana is through, and he's up into the lead of the race, and that is now crucial. He's got a 4.5 second advantage on Rocco pretty much out on track, and that is his nearest rival, because Larkin still has to pit just yet. But Toxic on just set of soft compound of tyres, 11 laps on these set of softs. I think they can make it, but it's going to be close.
I was thinking, whilst Toxic they come into the pits, that's a bit early. I'd normally go lap 18, have 10 laps on the tyres, but whatever floats his boat. If he can get a good undercut on Larkin ahead, who hasn't pitted yet, those two were pretty much stuck to each other throughout the entirety of the Grand Prix. So if he could get that undercut, he'll be in a really great position. P12 at the moment, you'll see the difference in pace that he'll have on exit of corners to the likes of Killer Blue and Justasas in front of him. 7 laps for Killer Blue's mediums, and there's Schiaparelli making up another position on Bolin. So yeah, he is really in the driving seat. Schiaparelli 3 laps younger tyres than Neo up ahead, and of course 3 laps younger than Alphatrix. Really going to be a dark horse in this Grand Prix, I think.
Yep, 3 overtakes done in the same amount of laps, pretty much. Toxic's trying to look around the outside of Killer Blue in towards turn 13 on a set of soft compound of tyres. This might be the overtake of the race so far, and it is. Toxic is through on Killer Blue. Fantastic stuff. He might be on fresher tyres, but give him credit, give Killer Blue credit as well for sticking in there as well. But Toxic now, he's not going to try around the outside of the final 2 corners, is he? No, he runs into the back of Jasesas, forces Jasesas wide. He's just got to be careful. He's going to go for the move down the inside. He will have the DRS into the final corner, and Toxic actually disposed of Jasesas pretty easy indeed. Not really an overtaking opportunity around the final corner, but he's through, and now Killer Blue is closing up on Jasesas down the inside. Very late on the brakes. Here comes the Brit on the Lithuanian, and Killer Blue has to back out that move. Jasesas remains ahead, as Campbell is on the inside of Suku and gets the job done for 13th.
Yeah, that was a really interesting battle that we saw there between Toxic, Jasesas and Killer. I don't think Jasesas will be too best pleased with the nudges that he got, just displacing his car ever so slightly, which allowed for Toxic to get the advantage. But you might be saying they've raced me so hard. Well, I'll say what Martin Brundle said. Welcome to Division 1.
Here comes Connor for second position. Connor sails on by the Haas down the inside line in towards turn 12, and Connor is through. And look at Schiaparelli and Neil, the two Germans now going at it out on track, and Schiaparelli makes up another position out on track. I said he might be on for top 5. I didn't really mean it literally. He's now in 5th position, and Toxic has got another move done, and that's on Cohen, and Cohen is trying to last those tyres out towards the end of the race and be one of the quickest mans out on track. But we see Connor up a position, Schiaparelli up a position, and Toxic up a position, and now it's an Alfa Romeo 1-2. Montana leads, Connor in second. Really got to give Rocco credit though. Honestly, this might be one of his best drives so far this season. I haven't seen him so consistent.
Yeah, he's not made really any mistakes, so he's been really impressive, but the pace of Connor was just completely undeniable. On for a third P2 in his Division 1 career, and he's only done 3 races. Killer Blue's out.
Killer Blue retires into the pit lane. He came into the pit lane. I was thinking a tyre change, and he's retired out the pits. I wonder if there's something maybe wrong with his setup, or with, for example, I don't know, a port braking maybe? His internet going? I don't know. Montana still leads, Connor in second, Rocco in third. Both retirements, by the way, have been in the pit lane, so there's been no safety cars, no VSCs to be deployed. I wish we could see a safety car, if I've got to be honest. This race has now not only turned into an overtake fest, but will just spice up things a lot more, I think, out on track, and create that big sprint feeling towards the end of the race, as Rocco tries to close up on Connor, but he's not close enough. And this is really the first opportunity we have to analyse what has been happening so far in this race. Montana just picked up the guys at the right possible time out on track, and look at the gap now. It's 5 seconds. He is totally dominating things out in front. Alfa Romeo 1-2 currently, but Alpha Trix is now beginning to latch onto the back of Rocco. Those tyres, are they beginning to turn in terms of the delta? Is it now becoming more hards focused or mediums focused? Because those mediums definitely, I think, are beginning to wear.
8 laps so far, or 9 laps actually, on Rocco's mediums, and then 10 laps on Alpha Trix's hard. At this point, I'd probably say the mediums are just a tad faster, but then there's a pace difference in Alpha Trix and Rocco, just as a driving standard, driver raw ability. So I definitely think that Alpha Trix will be reeling him in, and that advantage is only going to get better throughout the race as it continues on. 9 laps left, or 8.5 for most of these guys. So yeah, Alpha Trix is going to come into play, but I just don't think he can pull up a 5-second gap to Montana, especially since he's racked up a penalty so far.
Toxic really beginning to close in as well on the likes of Bol and Neil Schiaparelli. I'm not surprised actually that he is closing in. Let's have a look though at the latest penalty situation, as Kazizel, I think, has just had a half spin coming out of turn 7. I saw it on I saw the gap go to 4.8 seconds from about 8 tenths. So that means now Kazizel has spun, but he's in 14th still. Larkin closing on Jasesas. Can he get the move done down the inside? No, he's still quite close though to the back, out on track. There's the latest penalty situation. Just minute penalties really being picked up. 3 seconds, 6 seconds worth. Larkin now trying to fight through on Jasesas. This is for 10th position. 9th and 10th out on track. And Larkin trying to get the move done, but he's not quite close enough. Both of these guys, of course, running no penalties so far out on track. Alpha Trix has got 3 seconds. Schiaparelli's got 6. Neil's got 3, Toxic got 6, and the rest, Campbell, M. Short, Kazizel and D. Daniel, have all got 3 penalties out on track. Or 3 seconds out on track, as that is Ball and diving up the inside of Neo. Brilliant stuff. late on the brakes, down the inside. Neo's going to try and have a comeback at him, but Bolin is through and he's up into 6th. 3/4 of the way through, Montana leads, Connor 2nd, Rocco still 3rd.
Yeah, Rocco beginning to drop off the back of Connor at this moment in time, and Alphatrix just reeling him in a little bit. The gap's remaining a bit stagnant between this whole kind of gaggle of cars at just in general. But Rocco, this is crucial. Now outside the second window that you need to get DRS, and if he doesn't have it, which he does not, he won't be getting DRS. This will allow for Alphatrix to absolutely reel him in like a fish. You can see just the overspeed that Alphatrix is going to get. He's not going to use any overtake, but he's certainly gaining on that Haas car. You can almost sense an overtake, but he's just going to be patient. He's got time. Only lap 21 of 28. He could be in a really brilliant position later on as Toxic. In all the fighting that Neo and Bolin have had side by side.
Ran the outside of turn 12, very good on the traction, brilliant move by Larkin if he can pull it off, and he does. Larkin is through and he's up into 9th position. Just ASOS, I think, just gave up on that one, to be honest. Larkin is now through and he's up into 9th. Really good stuff, and again another one on the fresh the fresh soft compound of tyres. You were saying about Toxic, he's now latched onto the back of Bolin and Neo for 6th.
Yeah, in all of their fighting, he's really been able to get up to the back of them. You can see how deep he is going onto the brake. Those tyres are still going to be in working nick, and he's just going to be reeling him in. Here he is, coming up towards turn number 1. He's right up to the back of him. Half a tenth separating the two. He goes deeper onto the brakes. That is P7 for a Toxic, and Neo can't replicate that switchback move that he did on Bolin just a lap ago. So now Toxic up into 7th position. Of course, 6 seconds of penalties coming his way, but if he could just extend that gap to these guys as long as he can, he can definitely be within a good shout of a decent haul of points. Definitely could be a candidate for driver of the day, I think.
Could be indeed. Toxic is on for a possible P6. I'm not sure if he'll get Chapelelli before the end of the race. I mean, it's 3 seconds. He has got a 3-second time penalty as well. Has Toxic. If I'm not mistaken, he's got 6 seconds. Chapelelli's now got 9 seconds actually out on track. These are not coming up on the bottom of your screen, so I'm just relying on the penalties here to the right-hand side. Alphatrix is closing on Rocco once again. Rocco all the way to the right-hand side. Toxic in behind, though. Sails on by Bolin, and he's now through and he's up into P6 out on track. Thank you so much, by the way, 34 of you who are tuning in for this race. We are now reaching the closing stages, and it might not be one of those classic races that we experience here in League of Europe Division 1, but it's certainly been very good in terms of the overtaking. As soon as I say that, Daniel is through on Kazizel, and Suku and M Short are having a good battle as well. And Suku remains in that position for 12th. Cohen latching onto the back of a battle for 14th.
Yeah, looking at the front, Alphatrix is now only 5 tenths back from Rocco. Not close enough to make a move through the first corner, and you can just see how he's saving up his ERS. He's now got 70%, 80% in the back of that Williams, so he's going to be absolutely clinical come the DRS straight. And look who's right up to the back of them as well. Chapelelli is really closed in on these guys in this last couple of laps. 10 laps on those medium tyres, probably will be around about just a little bit quicker than Alphatrix, I would think, just based on the tyre situation. As more penalties coming out. I believe that was just Asas getting his first penalty at the Grand Prix, so they're all beginning to rack them up throughout the order, but it's good to see a couple of the guys still without penalties to their name.
Yeah, Campbell, I think, picked up a 3-second time penalty as well, if I'm not mistaken in that. Here comes Alphatrix and Rocco for 3rd position. Chapelelli trying to close in down, but Alphatrix, clinical. Down the inside line, absolutely disposes of Rocco, and Alphatrix is now through and he's up into 3rd position. And we said a couple of laps ago that the tyres, I thought, certainly were switching to the hards instead of the mediums. That overtake, I think, might have just proved that point. Chapelelli is down the inside of Rocco. Not going to go for the move, my friend. And Rocco cuts him off at the pass for 4th.
Yeah, a bit ambitious for Chapelelli, I would think, to try and make that move stick there, but why not go for it? So there's Kazizel and Daniel have a little scrap as well. Cohen is involved as well, albeit for 14th position. These guys are putting on a show. Is anyone going to send up the inside? Nah, not going to go for it.
Yeah, very difficult place to overtake coming through turn 15. And hopefully we're going to be seeing some of the guys, Chapelelli as well, right on the back of Rocco. Lap 24 out of 28 has begun. It's Montana who leads, Connor in 2nd, Alphatrix 3rd, Rocco 4th, Chapelelli in 5th. my voice is beginning to go. Now, I hope I can still stay here for the final couple of laps, but Schiaparelli is all over the back of Rocco coming through the S section, but he cannot find a way through for now. And all of this is beginning to let Alphatrix get away in a little bit of clear air. He's beginning to try and close in on corner.
Spun. Oh.
Just got caught on the curb, coming out of turn 8 and through turn 9. And Schiaparelli has spun. And he will rejoin the track. He'll spin the car around. He does a J-turn, well, a half J-turn there. He recovers the car. And he will recover, hopefully. And he's now down out of the points in 13th position. I think he's just going to let all of these guys through now. And that might be the end of his night for Schiaparelli. So unfortunate. Just one mistake caught him out. And it's one mistake too many. It's as simple as that.
I just saw it happen. I was live on board with him. I was just watching from the cockpit, and it was just absolutely just the slowest spin you'll ever see. It was you could just see it happening, and he knew that he was absolutely screwed. But yeah, Rocco's going to be pretty happy about that one. I'm not too happy because I would have liked to have seen Schiaparelli at least try and fight with Rocco and maybe get up to Alphatrix up ahead. But yeah, it just was not meant to be. Speaking of Alphatrix though, he is now almost within a second of Connor. I definitely think that those hard tyres have come into full effect, and he's now going to be absolutely crucial against Connor and maybe just try and disrupt the 1-2 that the Alfa Romeo are hunting down for at this moment.
Yeah, Connor, I think honestly that gap has been quite stagnant over the last couple of laps. It was 1.2 seconds. It's hovering around the second point at the minute. So this is where we might begin to see them hards begin to come into play on the final couple of laps of the race. Schiaparelli retires, Schiaparelli leaves the session, understandably so. So frustrating for a driver to be in that position, having to spin. The motivation just drowns out of you completely, and he is retired from the race in the pit lane. That marks our third retirement here out on track. Toxic, though, is beginning to have a go at Rocco, and if I know back in the day, Rocco and Toxic loved to have a good battle out on track. I think, honestly, we're going to be treated to that once again, because Rocco can put on a really good display of defensive driving. Toxic can put on a good display of attacking driving as well. Campbell, by the way, I think has just gone through on Jasas for 9th, so he is now through for that position. But the main focus point is this battle for 4th. Rocco just losing the tyres slightly. Toxic, though, will be losing his tyres probably within the next 2 laps, I think.
Yeah, these two are good friends, but will they have a nice tidy battle? Rocco's going to try go defensive this time around. He wasn't doing that for the last couple of laps, or he just let him through. That is not what you really like to see, I guess. He could try and get the DRS and then have a little bit of an attack on his good friend, so maybe that is something to look forward to, but just the difference in grip. Those soft tyres still in working nick, and 4th place for him. Pretty good. Daniel, sorry, right on the back of M Short down in towards turn 1. I'm sure the M Short fan club will not be happy by the overtake that they've just seen. Daniel is through now into the final point scoring position for now. But with 2.5 laps to go, pretty much, let's have a look at the penalties. 6 seconds for Alphatrix, 9 seconds for Toxic, 6 seconds for Rocco. Bolland's in with a good shout here of getting that P3 out on track. As long as he remains in that position for the next couple of laps or so, he will be there, he will be on for P3 out on track. Somebody that might be on for P7 out on track now is Larkin. He wants it done down on the inside line. It's a shocking camera angle, but there is the Racing Point going through on the Renault, gets the move done, and Larkin is through on that fresh soft compounder tyre, and he's through, and he's up into 7th position out on track. Montana leads, Connor 2nd, Alphatrix in 3rd. Penalties, though, I think are still going to play a big factor in this result. Sorry if there was anything like noise coming from my microphone. I actually just ran out of battery on my controller, so I'm going to need to charge that up. I've got it plugged in now, but yeah, I kind of lost all focus. I don't really know what happened at all. Do apologise.
Yeah, Toxic getting the move done on Rocco, obviously, but I was just saying the penalties, I think, are going to be the main target point now for these guys out on track, because we've got 2 laps to go. Bolland, I was saying, is within a really good shout, I think, of picking up a P3 now. It's got no penalties at all.
Yeah, that is actually, I didn't even notice that, and with his tyres being only 15 laps old, he could actually try and get Rocco on circuit, who's just beginning to drop off the pace that he was showing before. He still had a really impressive performance, being in the upper echelons of the points and being on the podium for a little bit of time. So yeah, big congratulations to him. He put it off for just this last lap and a half.
He's just got to stay on the back of Rocco to do it. To be honest, Alphatrix is beginning to put the pressure now on Connor. 0.6 of a second. He is narrowing closer. That gap is narrowing all the time. Montana currently leads by 4.5 seconds. He's pretty much done his job now out on track. Montana leads, Connor second, Alphatrix in third. Further down the field, Cohen looks like he could get the move done on Kazizel. D. Daniel certainly having to go on his teammate down the inside, and Suku gets the job done. So D. Daniel is through and he's up into 11th. Kazizel and Cohen having a right set to now coming through turn 13. And Kazizel still hanging on in there. He's on 2-lap older tyres, and Cohen has got through on the fresher tyres. So Cohen through and he's up into 14th. We've just started the final lap of the race. Montana leads. You can pretty much coast home, I think, from this point onwards. Connor in second, Alphatrix in third. Alphatrix, though, with 6 seconds worth of penalties. What would you do in a scenario? Would you go for second out on track, or would you just stay in that position knowing that you're going to be dropping down the field?
Well, whatever he decides to do, Connor probably won't fight him too hard, is more what I'm thinking, because he knows that he's not going to rack up 6 seconds of penalties unless he absolutely does something ridiculous. But even so, he's beginning to pull away. He managed to save up a lot more ERS than Alphatrix has, which is quite a rare thing. Alphatrix not having 1 million ERS percent just to use whenever he wants. He's actually had to save some, and he just can't get close enough to Connor. So I think it's going to be a 1-2 on track for Alfa Romeo today. That's 2 in a row.
Bolin for the inside line on Rocco. 2 hassles about to go out. That's very late on the brakes from Bolin, but he gets the job done. That is late commitment from Bolin. The Dutchman is through and he's up into 5th position. Very late stuff there out on track. Just Asas and Campbell. Campbell defending to the inside line. Just Asas forcing his way through. He's dummied him and he's on the inside line through 9th. But now we'll have to focus on the leader because Montana is coming through the final couple of corners. Please keep an eye on that battle if you can. Montana through the final corner is going to win here in the United States. Montana wins, extends his championship lead, does not wrap up the title. Connor will finish in second. He's glitched the timing boards, but he finishes in second nonetheless. Alphatrix is third, and it's Bolin in the end who gets third ahead of Alphatrix, I do believe. No, Bolin gets second, I think. Or does he? No, he gets third. Connor's thrown me off the scent completely. Suku. Connor finished second.
I think it was Connor coming second. I don't actually think Connor got a penalty. I will check it just in the race director. Never mind. It'll probably show up in the total race time, hopefully, but I do believe that is Connor in second position.
Yeah, Connor definitely picking up second. Driver of the day, Larkin gets driver of the day. I think he was driver of the day last week, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So 2 driver of the day votes from the in-game fans, it seems, for Larkin out on track. Do let me know who your driver of the day was here in Division 1. We're sorry about lap 1. We got disconnected. The guys continued, and it's Montana who takes to the top step of the podium. Connor should be there in second, and Bolin ending up in third. And Montana extends that championship lead to something like now 33 points, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and that is going to be key because that is outside of a win for Montana there. I believe it is 25 points for the for a win, and of course 33 points. If you do simple maths and you learn how to count, you'd know that 33 is bigger than 25. So Montana in these last couple of races is going to be really confident in this one, and he's probably got one hand on the championship already.
Quick maths here in Division 1. Montana takes the win from Bolin in third. Connor finishing in second, Bolin in third. Alphatrix finishing in fourth, with Larkin in fifth. Rocco sixth, with Toxic 7th. Neo in 8th, Josesas 9th. Campbell filling out the top 10, with Cohen in 11th. D. Daniel picks up that final point scoring position in 12th. M Short 13th, Kazizel with the penalties down there in 14th. Suku finishing in 15th in the end. He's another one that had his timing glitched as well. And the rest, of course, Chapelletti, Kuki Games and Killer Blue all retiring out of the race at the United States Grand Prix. But that is us. That is us. Ending here tonight Thank you so much to everybody that has tuned in to the stream. I noticed about 35 viewers at any one time, which is fantastic. If we can keep pushing the boundaries here in League of Europe, certainly it is going to be fantastic. And I will mention about a special occasion that's going to come up next week, in just a little more while. But Dan, 2 things coming from that race. First of all, who was your driver of the day? And second of all, what can we expect next week in Mexico?
Oh, right. So, my driver of the day, this is going to be a really tough one because there's actually a lot of guys I would nominate for that position. But I am going to go for... I'll go with Rocco, you know. I think he's really outdone himself. He's not had a good finish in a long time. I don't remember where he exactly finished, but I'm sure it was a good position nonetheless. So I put him up there. I'd also put Connor in the hat. That's what it is. Sorry, I've just kind of lost all track of my words. But for Mexico, I think we're going to see probably not as many overtakes as a couple less positions where you really can try and make a move, but I definitely think we could see a good race nonetheless, like they always do in Division 1. They do it every single week. I think they could do it again in Mexico.
They can do indeed in Mexico, and hopefully you will join us from the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City, Mexico next week on League of Europe, and indeed for Division 1 for round 16 of the championship. The championship grows closer, possibly to be Montana crowned a 2-time champion. You will find out, of course, what happens next week. And the final thing for me, it's my birthday next week, so I am going to be commentating you through the action as always on my birthday, so I expect nothing more than seeing a lot of happy birthday messages either for next week or indeed for next week, I should say, in the chat next week, of course, for Mexico. I'm even messing up my words here as well. We should really end this because Division 2 and Division 5 are going to be live. Division 2 is Daka and J-Cole, I do believe, commentating you through. Verstappen, obviously, with his connection issues, I don't think, going to be commentating. Division 5 is Mike and Old School. That is, of course, Eloine Mark, and they're going to be taking you through the action for Division 5 out on track. For myself and Dan, please stay safe out there. Please keep to the restrictions. Please keep going at it. We know how hard it is, but I hope we can provide still for you next week a bit of normality in your life on a Saturday night. And where would you not be without League of Europe on a Saturday night? We wouldn't be commentating, certainly, that's for sure. Thank you so much for tuning in, though, to Division 1. For round 15 of the championship, we go to round 16 next week in Mexico. For myself and Dan, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.